Very good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. Look at that. Just like that. Last time we talked live, it was before the 4th of July. And like that, it just goes right through. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234 to kick things off. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the forecast near you. And Mike, man, it's like you could write an encyclopedia on the weather that we've had in the last week.
It's been wild. Last time we spoke, like you said, so much heat, the records being broken left and right, even overnight for warmth. And now, hope you had built your ark because with all of the rain that fell, inches of rain across New Jersey, leading to lots of flash flooding. Well, there's not more significant rainfall ahead, but there are some clouds for the rest of the day today. So the wet weather, even though that's in the rearview mirror, look at all of the rain that's down to the south and east and the clouds that linger for most of the day today. The futurecast shows a lot more clouds throughout the rest of this afternoon. Not really seeing any clearing, not really seeing any drying out. It's just going to remain muggy and humid, as is the case for most of the East Coast. Have to wait till tomorrow for that bright sunshine to return to begin the drying process. That doesn't even happen until later tomorrow morning into the afternoon. And then I think we stay dry for most of the day on Friday, with the exception of northern New Jersey gets clipped with another round of showers and storms, likely not expected to be severe. Around lunchtime hour, once that passes through, that's along a front that will finally push through and clear out by Friday, bringing some drier weather. So we had several inches of rain across the state. Now we just wake up with that low cloud cover and muggy conditions across New Jersey with temperatures that are actually below average for a change. A little bit of a cool down this afternoon into tomorrow. We'll tell you more about it coming up with another check of your forecast, Ken, in a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. And by the way, Mike, what did we break all temperatures like highs last week? Were there all sorts of
Oh,
broken highs or
yeah, and in not only the highs, but the low temperature. It never got that warm. It had never been that warm overnight. Some overnight lows were in the mid to upper 80s, meaning it never got below, 89 degrees at night. Ridiculous heat with that
so
humidity.
that's South Florida weather. That's what South Florida gets on the overnight, where it doesn't get down below the 80s.
Exactly, right. Yep,
Unbelievable. That is
wild.
crazy weather. Yeah, it's you just never had relief. It's not like it could cool down, you wake up and oh, okay, things
Mm-hmm.
cooled down last night. It was
No,
just baking.
no.
And
Right.
I remember, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
It progressively got hotter each and every day because if you start even warmer with that extra humidity, the next day's temperature climbs even higher. That's why we're hitting triple digits every day.
Unbelievable. And that stuff bakes into the ground too, right? The
Hmm.
ground gets hotter, everything gets hotter, the trees, and you get that radiational heat. Oh, listen to me, radiational heat. All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. I do pay attention every now and then. We will check back in a little bit. Appreciate you, my friend. It is 63 degrees northern New Jersey, 65 in Trenton, in Los Angeles, 63 as well. So right across the country, it is warmer than that in South Florida, though. Right now, it's 70 degrees in Fort Lauderdale, but our daytime high. Yes, now it will get hotter in Fort Lauderdale than New Jersey because of our cloud situation. In terms of traffic, here's what we got, and we have a lot of it to talk about. In the tri state New York area, we have a disabled tractor trailer now, New Jersey Turnpike Outer Roadway southbound, south of Interchange 7, that's Route 206, Bordentown Township. Left and center lanes are blocked. Over to, let's see where this is. What town is this? This is Route 206, Andover. Route 206, we have a down pole blocking traffic both directions. This is south of Route 517 in Andover. All lanes are open northbound. All lanes are closed southbound, but it is impacting traffic in both directions. Our Hudson River crossings right now, the Lincoln right now is going to cost you about 35 minutes in. The Holland Tunnel, 35 to 40 already. Look at what we have here. This is the 192 connector from 78 to the tunnel, and this is what you got. Very heavy traffic. It's moving but kind of crawling along. Over to the GWB, the 8095 approaches right now to the GWB upper and lower levels, very heavy, but we do have a flow you could see right now, not so bad. It's only about 35 minutes. That's actually very good what you're seeing there, especially the upper level on the right. To Los Angeles, we have just a couple of issues. We have a road closure in LA proper on Sepulveda Boulevard at West Century. There's an assist with maintenance. So that means somebody broke down. And this is in West LA on the 90 at Inglewood. and we have what they're calling an animal hazard. So that probably means either a raccoon or a dog on the roadway. Although in LA, it could be anything, could be a bear, who knows? I'm just saying. Animal hazard. This is on the 10 at the 605 in Baldwin Park. 5 minutes after, and it was an amazing effort, but it was not meant to be for Team USA. They were defeated last night in Seattle. Belgium's soccer team beat them 4-1 in the round of 16, eliminating USA from competition. But the fact that we made it to the round of 16 is something amazing and something that America should be very, very proud of. Plus, it looks like we have launched a whole new generation of energy, if you will, for younger people with soccer. And hopefully, Major League Soccer will now have a foothold, so to say, in the United States. This happened, I remember, in the 70s. Briefly, it happened again in the 90s. And let's see what happens now in the 2000s and 2020s. 6 minutes after. And there was a little controversy. Last night's match was not without some controversy, you'll all know. President Trump received some criticism after questioning a FIFA review of Folarin Balogun's red card. They call him Flo. I'll call him Flo. So he called in the original referee's decision against Flo unfair, but he denies that he influenced FIFA's outcome. FIFA says, even the head of FIFA says, I don't even have the decision. It's a committee, and it's probably a committee of Trump haters, by the way. They apparently started making the decision back when the red card was called. And then it just coincided with Trump calling him saying, is there anything that could be done? They were working on it at that point. But it looked bad. The public thinks, oh, here's big man, orange man, bad, making calls. How terrible. Clearly, it didn't make a difference either way. The USA lost. But the bottom line is it was a bad call that caused that red card. It was probably an anti-USA call to begin with. And all President Trump did was call and ask. And there was a recording of the phone call. And all he did was politely ask, what do the rules say? And is there anything that can be done? Can it be reviewed? Now, if that's the worst thing in the world, okay. I'd rather have a president who would do that, I don't know about you, than one who is brain dead and asking for ice cream and doesn't know where he is. I'm just saying. It is 7 minutes past. Utah prosecutors began presenting evidence against the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. The preliminary hearing will determine whether the case proceeds to trial. Prosecutors plan to present videos, DNA evidence, witness testimony, and alleged confession notes. Now, again, this is about the state case. This is a state case in the state of Utah with Charlie Kirk. They also intend to seek the death penalty if convicted. Microsoft will eliminate 4,800 jobs, including many positions within its Xbox division. Company leaders cited rising costs and weaker gaming business performance. Xbox will also cut additional jobs and recognize or reorganize, I should say, several development studios. Microsoft said the layoffs are unrelated to replacing employees with artificial intelligence. Buy that? An Ohio police sergeant was killed while responding to a reported break-in and gunfire. 4 other officers and a police dog also got hurt. The suspect and 2 additional people died during the incident. Authorities continue investigating the circumstances surrounding the deadly confrontation. A New York man sued the Department of Homeland Security over agents' response to his email. The lawsuit argues his criticism of ICE was protected by the First Amendment. Federal agents delivered warning notices months after his original message. DHS denies suppressing free speech and says it investigates credible threats. When you say that they should die and you say to people, go attack ICE, that is not protected free speech, period. When you rally for somebody's injury, whether they're a federal agent or not, when you try to organize people to go kill people, that is a violation of law. In almost every country in the world, by the way. So the free speech thing doesn't count in that case. There are exceptions to free speech. If you have a peaceful gathering of people and you get them all rallied up to go kill somebody, to go, let's go beat them up, that is not free speech. If you were to say in a public setting, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be upset and a lot of people would like to do something, but remember, don't do that. Use your power to protest. That is free speech. That's where it's allowed. But once you rally the troops to go attack somebody, which is what the allegation is here with this guy, that ain't free speech. Anyone will tell you that. You could be a first day law student. They know that. That is not free speech. 10 minutes after, and Cuba's power grid failed again yesterday afternoon, leaving the entire island of 10 million people in the dark. That after days of protests over recent long blackouts during one of the hottest summers, just like here, down there, in the island's recent history. The blackout, which began around noon, at which point the National Communist Government-run power company announced, quote, total disconnection of the national electric power system and said it was investigating the cause. Like the other 12 million times it had investigated the cause, it never gets back to the people. Cuba's power grid has collapsed many, 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 many times since 2024 after decades of failure to maintain and modernize the Soviet era power stations. This is what happened. I mean, this is why when you have democratic socialists in New York City promising you the sky, the moon, stars, free buses, free healthcare, free college, free food, free everything. Where do you think it comes from? Somebody's got to pay for it. Somebody, in order to get the food isn't manna from heaven. Somebody's got to go till the fields and pay for the fertilizer. That has to come from it'll come from the government. Where does the government get the money? Government gets the money from taxes. See, a capitalist system is an engine. It starts here. It's money from the taxpayer, and the taxpayer gets money from other taxpayers who buy the goods. The taxes get paid to the government. The government then has money to spend to other people to make the engine move. When everybody stops doing it, the engine stops. It'll run just like a plane with 20,000 feet with no engines. It'll glide for about 20, 30 miles, then it crashes. And it's the same thing with communism. Every single time communism, socialism has been tried, it collapses because it runs out of, as Margaret Thatcher famously said, you run out of other people's money. That's what happens. So kids, unfortunately, they're into this. They're into this. They just look at their little MP3 and their little movie, and they don't care about history. They don't care about history. And then you have enough people online who are twisting the truth one way or the other. So they think, oh, it just hasn't been tried right. If we try communism the right way, it'll be fine. Doesn't work. AI-generated actor Tilly Norwood will star in the upcoming feature film Misaligned. The project combines traditional filmmaking with artificial intelligence specialists. The story explores identity and artificial intelligence through a self-aware digital character. The announcement renews debate over AI's role in the entertainment industry. I think that's a little creepy. Pretty soon, you're not going to know what's real and what's AI, and that's really creepy. And several Waymo vehicles lost power during severe 4th of July traffic in San Francisco. Heavy congestion and road closures stranded autonomous cars for hours. Roadside crews towed disabled vehicles after their batteries drained. Waymo is reviewing improvements for future large-scale traffic disruption. And right there, by the way, is my fear for switching over to electric vehicles. Every time I consider buying an EV, having lived in Florida where you have evacuations for hurricanes, I think to myself, if you're stuck in 2 hours of traffic, and you need air conditioning in Florida, and your battery is draining, what happens when everybody runs out of electricity on the highway? There's no place to quick charge. That's a problem. That's why I like the idea of a hybrid. I definitely like the idea of a gas engine, but the environmentalist leftists who think that we should all be on EVs, take a look at that. That's San Francisco, where they have a lot of charging stations. That was simply a holiday with traffic. That wasn't heat. That wasn't a hurricane. I was stuck in a Waymo just 2 months ago, as everybody here knows. It was trying to drop me off at a fast food restaurant where there was traffic, and it didn't know what to do because in its brain, it was supposed to drop me off at a curb. And there was traffic at the curb, and it just stopped. So now traffic was backed up on the highway behind me for a mile because the Waymo wouldn't move. That's a problem. So it ain't there yet, folks. And that's why when Governor Murphy wanted to mandate EVs in the state of New Jersey by 2030, all EVs, these people are very short-sighted. They haven't figured it out yet. Good idea. Second vehicle, maybe. Hybrid, definitely. That is a problem. It is 14 minutes past the hour. When we return, last week's incredibly hot weather, Mike was just talking about it, was met with severe thunderstorms and days of flooding rain. Mike and I, the junior weather badge candidate here, will talk about the weather's impact on New Jersey. Plus, we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato, now live on the East Coast and the West. We're back in 2. Don't go away. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Tuesday live in New Jersey and New York. Now we welcome Los Angeles and our state of Florida too at 17 minutes past the hour, taking calls at 888-658-0234. We say good morning to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the forecast near you. And by the way, Mike, we talked about the Waymos
Hmm.
and EVs and whatnot and running out of power. You know what? We've talked about this. What China's solution is now, granted, they have a mandate because they're a communist country. They can do what they want. They don't have businesses competing. But what they do is their cars, no matter what model you buy of communist car, their cars have swappable batteries.
I've
Now,
seen it. Very cool.
right? They pull out. Now, the thing is, a Tesla, the whole base of the car is a battery. That's how you get like 250, 300 miles out of it. So it's the whole foundation of your car. Whereas the Chinese car, all you're swapping out is part of it. You're swapping out, I guess, about an hour's worth of battery. Swap it out, put it in. It's like getting gas. You go there, they pull out
Hmm.
one, put in a new one, boom, you go. So it'll give you an hour. Nobody wants to do that here. But wouldn't that be a nice compromise? Okay, you could all have your proprietary battery that gives you 75% of the power for the car, and that you charge at home on your own. But if you're on the highway and you need that last whatever, there should be a national battery. How about this, Ken, for president? A national battery that is universal, that's swappable. And you can pull into any existing gas station and they pull out something from the bottom of your car, the size of a suitcase, and slide another one in. Now it'll give you an hour of juice to get home. And then and it's sort of like a propane tank. What do you think? Tell me the good and the bad.
I think that there if it works in China, it can work in many places. I just think that we're a very gas loving society here in the
Well,
US,
there's a lot
right?
of
We're
it.
all about the car
There's
culture and
tons
all
of it.
that. So
That's the thing.
yeah.
It's like I remember when I was a kid in the 70s. I'm sorry for stepping on the tail there, Mike. In the 70s, when I was a kid, we heard we could measure in days how much fuel we have left. That's all we heard. And you lose credibility when that's what you say. And it was probably, and let's say what it was. It wasn't government. I think this was probably an oil industry plot. I know, Ken, you are a conspiracy theorist. But it may very well have been to drive up the cost of gas because back then, when I was a kid, it was 49 cents a gallon. And suddenly went to 79 cents. And suddenly I remember when it went to 99 cents and everybody said, oh, it's going to break a dollar. And it did. So who knows? This may have been a wonderful diabolical plot on behalf of the fuel industry. Very, very well to say, hey, we're running out. But suddenly they found trillions and trillions and trillions of barrels more.
And yet we still have thunderstorms and downpours, right? So on that note, with the return to weather that we haven't seen in terms of breaking records, a lot of heat last week, a lot of thunderstorms, and still a little bit more rain left in the bucket this week after 5 to 7 inches fell across New Jersey in isolated pockets, not the entire state, but there were certain neighborhoods that picked up a lot of water. It was all due to that excessive heat, which has now been suppressed south. So over the next few days, we won't have the extreme heat across New Jersey, but it's still a little muggy, still a little warm, whereas most of the real hot weather has moved its way south, not only to California, but even across the southeast. There's actually dangerous levels of heat down in Florida as that high pressure is kind of parked here across the southeast part of the country. Back to New Jersey, we still have a little bit of pollen, even though a lot of the allergens have been rinsed from the atmosphere with all of that heavy rain. You'll start to hear some of those lawnmowers again with the landscapers out cutting the lawns, and of course that raises the grass pollens and the weeds as well. Over the next few days, it's a little gray. Likely get some sunshine back tomorrow, but then Friday sees another round of wet weather early in the day. Once that clears Saturday and Sunday, partly sunny. I think we'll make it through the weekend, mostly dry with some breaks in the clouds, and then bring back some cooler weather for next week, going into the next week in July. So after all of that extreme July heat, we have waves of cooler weather coming toward us. It doesn't bring a real significant relief. It just brings us back down to average. And at this point, after all of the extreme heat, that's all we can ask for. With that wet weather moving eastward, you see by Friday into Saturday, some of that clears out, and we're back to dry weather into the weekend. We'll tell you all about it with another check of your forecast. Ken, take a look at the West Coast weather in just a few minutes.
All right, Mike. And if you don't mind, I'm going to do a quick traffic report, and then in about a minute, if you don't mind coming back and talking with me about the severe weather. We're going to
Hmm.
take a couple of minutes to talk about all the severe weather we had, because we have a lot. We had massive
Yeah,
flooding, states of emergency, so we really need to talk about it. So if you don't mind coming back in a second, I
sure.
appreciate it, sir. Okay, it is now 64 degrees in Trenton, 64 northern New Jersey, Los Angeles 63 degrees, in South Florida it is 75 degrees right now in Fort Lauderdale. In terms of traffic, we have a crash now just popped up. Pam, sorry, Pam was asking me, do we have traffic? Yes, for the cameras. This is on 295 northbound at exit 27 down in the Philadelphia area. This is in Bilmar. The left lane of two lanes closed. We have a disabled vehicle downtown Jersey City. See, that's Jersey City right there. Downtown Jersey City, we have a disabled vehicle 12th Street eastbound approaching Manila Avenue. That's right in the heart. That's actually right near the Holland Tunnel where that's happening. And that's blocking the center lane. So that means if you're taking a local approach to the Holland Tunnel, it's going to be a mess. Tractor trailer broken down. This is on the New Jersey Turnpike by near I-80. All lanes open to traffic right now, but that's causing people to kind of hit their brakes. We have another disabled tractor trailer. This is down at exit or interchange 7, Route 206, Bordentown. Left and center lanes are blocked, but we don't have a camera shot there, unfortunately. And there's a down pole on 206 causing an impact on traffic in both directions south of Route 517 in Andover. All lanes open northbound, all lanes closed southbound. Now your Hudson River crossings. The Holland Tunnel approach, as we mentioned now from Jersey City, the local approach is now going to be impacted. That is the approach from 192, let's see, 130, 139, excuse me, not 192. That's the approach from 78. That's causing bumper to bumper traffic. You could see the approaches on the right of your screen. The people on the left of your screen are going to the local roads. People toward the right, those two lanes that are stopped are going toward the tube. So that's the problem we have, and that's going to cost you 40 minutes. GWB upper and lower levels right now, 8095 approach, very heavy but moving. We have 35 minutes in right now. Upper level on the right, lower on the left. Upper is slightly better. It'll save you about 5 minutes versus the lower. To the Los Angeles folks, the on LACA people, we do have an animal hazard. Again, that means there's probably a dog loose on the roadway. This is in Baldwin Park at the 10 and 605 where they meet. We have a hit and run, no injuries reported West LA. That's at 120th Street and Budlong Avenue. And a road closure now reported in LA proper at Sepulveda Boulevard and West Century Boulevard. It is 24 minutes past the hour, and we bring back our friend Mike for a few minutes. We'd like to talk about the severe weather. Now, we had record breaking heat last week,
Hmm.
and then we had massive amounts of flooding. Was the flooding more caused by the flash flooding, the quick downpours, or was it caused by then the following nonstop, round the clock light rain that we had a day in and day out, a day in and day, or was it all just part of the same mess?
No, it was caused by that heat. So a hotter atmosphere can hold more water because the atmosphere towers higher into the sky, allowing the clouds to get taller and allowing the rain to hold, excuse me, the atmosphere to hold more water. So in the case of these storms that came through, you had so much more rain within the cloud cover, and that's what dumped on certain areas. There also wasn't a big steering mechanism. Typically, when a front comes through, you have a line of
Mhm.
storms that moves quickly across an area. And it wasn't really the case here. Were these stagnant, stationary storms that just kept dumping rain in certain areas. And in the case that you see here, the Paramus video with all the trees being knocked
Right.
over, that's when you're on the periphery of this storm because as that all of that energy falls flat down, it then fans out when it hits the ground. And so on the edge, you get all of these trees down. That was the case up in Bergen County.
So we had in Paramus a state of emergency issued. This is Paramus right here. Look at this.
Hmm.
This was sent by an ex poster who then sent it out to I know a lot of the weather people. Amazing video to capture that much lightning. But I guess that's what happens, right? When you have a super heated atmosphere, it charges the upper, as you mentioned, as the clouds go higher and higher and get into that upper atmosphere. It charges, you have charged particles and you get that electric sky, right?
Yeah, it's a lot colder up there, so hail develops within the cloud. And while we didn't get much hail here on the ground because it was simply too hot, a lot of that ice rubbing up against each other, creating the static electricity, generates an impressive amount of lightning, and that's what we saw the other day.
So I'm looking right now at the current number. That's why I'm looking down. Forgive me for looking down while you're talking. Current number of outages throughout the state of New Jersey. And we have, again, a state of emergency still declared in Paramus. Morris County had a mess for a while. There are still 23,000 customers out throughout the state of New Jersey. Most of those customers, I'm looking, PSE&G, actually, First Energy has the majority, followed by PSE&G. There are almost 20,000 customers out with First Energy. So we'll keep you updated and let you know, as folks come online. But it seems that it's mostly northern New Jersey. I'm looking at the map. In fact, with the exception of what looks like Union County, it's mostly northern New Jersey that has most of the outages still. Do you think that is more because of the trees and whatnot you have
More
in
of the
that area?
trees, right? And then you had more of those larger systems that were very stagnant down in southern New Jersey. So I know we have video of the Ocean County where the
Mm.
BJ's roof collapsed from the heavy rain. I mean, look at the rainfall in that area, reaching purple
Right.
levels here. So that's, close to 5, 6 inches of rain in a very
Wow.
short amount of time. And that water simply has nowhere to go.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, Mike, thank you so much for the information. Always appreciate tracking that data with you, sir. And we will check back in a little bit.
You bet.
All right. It is 28 minutes past the hour. When we come back, a New Jersey business owner is helping ease the back to school transition for college students strapped with huge expenses. Great guy. We're going to talk to him in just a minute. Phone lines are open. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. And Mike comes back. He has the forecast near you. You're watching Mornings, seen daily at ONNJ.com, ONLACA.com, on FLA.com, and 23 other platforms around the country and around the world. We're back in 2. Good morning, 31 minutes past the hour, Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, live on the East Coast and the West. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the forecast near you. A lot calmer, than it was just days ago. Mike, good morning.
A lot calmer. Still waiting for that sun, Ken. Gonna be another day of cloud cover today, similar to yesterday, minus the rain, even though a lot of that rain still is present across most of the south and east. Here in New Jersey, we stay dry today, rain-wise, but it's still rather humid with those clouds lingering. Out west, there is another round of big heat ongoing. This big bubble of heat is moving in from the south, and that's allowing for some excessive heat warnings and the hot, extremely hot weather to take over most of the desert southwest. And you say, okay, well, it's July. Shouldn't it be hot in the desert? Yes, but there are some limits to that, especially down in LA where that heat remains. And a lot of that marine layer is actually being pushed down to the south. So, an extremely dry condition there with most of that moisture staying well offshore even throughout the weekend. Whereas the wildfires out west, especially in the Rockies, are pushing a lot of that smoke eastward. So, keeping an eye to that. But beyond that, it stays just muggy throughout most of the East Coast until we have this front that pushes through by Thursday and brings back some dry weather. Comes with a few chances of rain, especially midday Thursday for most of the state. We'll talk more about that with another check of your forecast and check in on the drought. Even though the update doesn't come in until Thursday, we've had a significant improvement with our drought, obviously, with all the rain. We'll give you those details in just a few minutes.
I would say if we didn't have some improvement, some significant improvement, you'd have people rioting throughout the state with all the
Yeah,
water that we
yeah.
got. It's like I've talked to people who have water in their basements who say they haven't had water in their basements in 20 years and they got water in their
Mm-hmm.
basements. It's quite a lot of
Right.
water. Mike, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. It is now 33 minutes past the hour. Just a quick check at, we should mention 64 degrees northern New Jersey and in Trenton, and 63 in Los Angeles, 62 now in San Diego. In terms of traffic, we have a disabled tractor trailer by 206. This is interchange 7, 206, Bordentown Township. All lanes are open to traffic, but there's a slowdown as you go past there. Over on 295, Belmar, we have a crash northbound exit 27 by the interchange with I 76 and 676. Left lane is closed. We have disabled tractor trailer now. This is on the Turnpike, local lanes northbound, just south of exit 69, I 80 Ridgefield Park. That's right by the approach to the GW Bridge. It says here that all lanes are open to traffic, but people are slowing down as they pass. We have our local approaches now. I should say the approaches to the Hudson River, not the local approaches, but the approaches. We take a look. The Lincoln Tunnel approach has been out now. The camera's been out for a couple of weeks, but we can tell you right now it's 35 minutes in via 495. The Holland Tunnel approach right now 139 bumper to bumper. That's going to cost you a solid 45 minutes in, making your way from the New Jersey Turnpike, and then over to the upper and lower levels of the GWB 8095 approach is a solid 40 minutes in, upper levels on the right, lower is on the left. Los Angeles, quick check of a few roads. Antelope Valley traffic collision. This is at the interchange of 138 and 90th Street West. There's a fire now reported West LA at the 405 and Manchester Boulevard off ramp. And we have an animal on the roadway, apparently, and that is in Baldwin Park at the 10 and the 605. And quickly, a road closure in LA proper at Sepulveda Boulevard and West Century Boulevard. 35 minutes past, and heading back to school can be expensive, whether you are moving into a college dorm or you're getting a classroom ready for a new group of students if you're a teacher. Well, one New Jersey business owner is helping to make that transition a little bit easier by, well, let's just say giving away. We always like that, giving away hundreds of free area rugs to college students and teachers. Free for you, not free for him, but very generous of him. His name is Glenn Scher. We've had him on before because we've been around so many years now that we can now say, remember when we had John last time? That's kind of cool. He is the owner of Carpets to Go. He has two locations, Howell and Brick, and he's here to talk about his company's annual Day of Giving. We say good morning, and I can now say welcome back, Glenn. I can't believe we were a baby show last time we had John. It's nice to have you back, my friend.
It's always great to be with the tops. Thanks so much,
Oh,
Ken.
my mother paid you to say that, but I appreciate it nonetheless. We'll take it. Glenn, you are just a kind and generous man. You've done this for a lot of years now. Talk about how you first started, when you first started, and the fact that you just have lines of people. We have video from last year of lines of people coming to your store. So talk about it.
It's an absolute unbelievable event. I started it 6 years ago. Both of my kids went to college. So 6 years ago, my son was looking for a carpet, and fortunately, we have a carpet and flooring store, and I gave him a rug, and I said to my wife, you know what, other people need rugs, so I started this giveaway, and it started out slow, and then it got crazy over the years. In the last couple of years, the lines were around the building, and it's just I made it a day of giving because this world is a lot, and to be able to give a little bit, that it's my part to give back, and it
And
works. And
you want them to give something too, right? They if they can, they can make a donation to a food drive or something, right? Isn't that part of it?
right, so we have the Wingman Foundation this year. They donate food for the holidays and all year round to the different food banks, and also help families in Monmouth and Ocean County for gifts for their kids. It's very important to give back, and I just, the more and more that I do it, the more and more that my vendors are giving to me, so I can give more back to the public. It's really becoming infectious, and that's exactly what I want it to be.
That's the word that was popping into my head as you said it. It becomes infectious. When people see other people doing good and it gives them a good feeling, they then want to take part, right? And they want to do, even if it's just a
Absolutely.
little bit. Everybody can afford to buy a few cans of canned food or buy something to help somebody who needs it. I've said it in the past. A lot of people are reticent to give cash, but very rarely are people reticent to give food because we've all felt hunger at some point in our lives. And so you want to be able to help another human being out so that they never experience that. And in your case, every little bit, the giving away of the carpet is what greases the engine and gets the giving going. And just the kindness of doing that is so, so beautiful. Now, this is going to be on July 25th. Am I right? That's a Saturday?
Yeah, it's July 25th. I put on social media that the line starts at 5 a.m. We do open the doors at 10 a.m. We allow 10 people in at a time. Everything is controlled. And the two rules are, if you're coming, if you're going to be going to college, you need to be wearing the college shirt of the school that you're going to be going to. And we also extended it this year and last year to teachers for their classrooms,
Mhm.
because really they're the educators that are building the foundation for these kids. And I think it's just as important. So, and the second rule is, besides wearing the shirt of where they're going, is they have to come here happy. And then when they leave, they're actually happier. It's just a great day. It's just a great, happy day.
You are the definition of a mensch. You're a good man. How did the idea you talk about your son giving your son the college carpet, if you will, when he was going away. But when you first came up with the idea of making this a big public thing, did you think it was going to take off to this extent?
I actually did not. I was mostly for local, but it's, as the day goes on, more droves and droves of people come here because the college kids are sharing it to their social platforms, and it's insane. We're getting people from New York last year, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. We had, and they're coming for a free rug. It's not that big of a deal of an expense, but it's just everybody wants to be a part, and I love
Mhm.
that. I love that.
Right. It's not even the physicality of the rug. It's about wanting to then take part in a giveaway and helping other people in the process. That's the kindness. It's like greasing an engine, so to say, right? You start it
Yes.
off, and then others say, "Well, if he's doing it, then I'll give something too. We got to give something. Let's stop by this market and buy some food for these folks." And it just even if it sets the ball in motion and makes them think every time they go shopping, just because I'm not going to go for a carpet today, I could still donate to my food bank. That's a good thing. And you just
Yeah.
you plant that seed of kindness in their minds. You're giving away 350 rugs this morning. How do you pick out what you're going to give away and stock up for it?
So we work on this for 5 months previous to the event. I look at my inventory. I see, what I'm actually either sitting on too long or whatever. Actually, I have one of my vendors donating some carpets, but we actually have to cut them all down to different sizes, and we do edge them, so they're not raw edges. They're all actual rugs,
Mhm.
specific sizes and things like that. And my thing is, you know what? I want to give a little bit of comfort while the kids or the teachers are at school. And it's just the part that I can contribute. I can't tell you enough what a great day it is, and it's good karma. And we all should give back to community, and we only go around this earth one time, and make the best of it. That's my part.
Every time those kids get out of their dorm bed and they put their feet down on what would have otherwise been a cold, dirty floor, they will now have a nice warm carpet, especially on a cold day, to put their toes on, and they'll have you to
Why
thank
not?
for that. It's very nice. And the idea that
Absolutely.
it's all edged, so those carpets are ready to go and put down when they're all edged like that. So give
They're
everybody
ready.
your website. And by the way, is it going to be in both your locations, Brick and Howell, or is it just one of the locations?
No, this year we're only going to be doing it in the Howell store, which is at 1787 Route 9 North in Howell. It's such a big deal that it just the logistics of it, it just made more sense this year to keep it all in one store.
And you're also encouraging other businesses to pick up the ball too. Do what you're doing. Everybody give back a little bit, and you'll have a whole community of goodness. We're running out of
And
time here. I just want yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your sentence. Go ahead.
no, it's just a feel good moment. That's all.
That's a good thing. Give your website once again.
It's carpets2go.nj.com.
Carpets2go.nj.com. Carpets to Go, home to
Correct.
the annual Day of Giving. This year it's on Saturday, July 25th. Howell location, and that is line up at 5 a.m. Doors open at 10. You're gonna get let in 10 at a time. Just wear your college shirt, right? Whatever college you're going to. Owner Glenn
Absolutely.
Share. Thank you for coming on this morning, and bring some donations,
Thanks,
right? Some
Ken.
food
I
donations
appreciate
for
it.
people who need it. We love you coming on, and have a wonderful day with it this year. Thank you, Glenn.
Thanks, pal.
You bet. All right. Good guy. Good guy, Glenn. All right. We need that all over New Jersey. It gives you a good feeling. 43 minutes past the hour. When we come back, the Supreme Court is giving Texas the green light to require age verification to download apps on your phone. Brand and digital strategist Fisher will be here to talk all about it. We're coming back in 2. A very good morning to you. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is 46 minutes past the hour, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Did y'all see the fireworks this weekend, both New York's and DC's? What did you think about them? Give us a call, 888-658-0234. Maybe your local fireworks show was kind of cool, too. A lot of the local shows were amazing. And now you got the new drone shows. Did you go to see a drone show? Tell us about it. Meteorologist Mike Favetta in with the forecast for your city. Mike, did you take the little ones out?
Well, my favorite thing to do is drive on the highway or find some bridges where you can go over some neighborhoods and you're kind of like eye level with the fireworks. You know, these are the backyard run of the mill fireworks, so it's a lot of fun.
Right.
Do it just after sunset, so around 8:30, 9 o'clock. People get so excited when it starts to get dark. They start shooting off all the fireworks, and it looks really cool. So it's my favorite thing
Yes.
to do every year. And we timed it out this year. Driving up the turnpike, you see all the fireworks around and over the bridges. So very, very cool.
Yeah, if you're in a building, like I've been in a building in Manhattan,
Hmm.
from one of the upper floors, looking around in all directions, it is
Yeah,
literally like a crown. You
it's great.
literally see 100 shows going on throughout the tri-state at the same time, because from that
Hmm.
elevation, you don't realize you in the day, you don't realize, oh, you're looking at Paramus from Manhattan. You don't
Right,
realize that
right.
that's what you're looking at. But at
Yep.
night, you can now see all these different shows going on.
Uh-huh.
It's enough to cause emotion. It is so
It
beautiful,
is.
so
It is.
beautiful
It
to
is
see.
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, so
So
that was a lot of
America.
fun. That was great. Enjoyed that. It always times out nicely. The rain timed out nicely. That it held off after a lot of the major fireworks. Could you imagine all these floods and all these rains during the fourth? Well, at least we had the heat and then the rain, and now we're back to some clouds for the remainder of the first part of this week. We get to some sunshine tomorrow, and you can see that building off to our west. So we take you through the next few days with the clearing that takes over tomorrow. It'll still be warm, not terribly humid, but we have a little bit more rain on the way for Thursday. Once that comes through, we are quiet into the weekend with clearing taking over. A few clouds around, but nothing like the heat and humidity we've endured. And then into next week, looks pretty quiet with a nice quiet pattern shaping up for most of the country. That will feel lovely. Florida is the exception. You can see some storms down there, but at least it remains nice and dry. And even the future cast closer to home shows those clouds today lingering back to some clear sky tomorrow with that little bit of a breeze coming in from the north and east. There's our line of storms that comes through Thursday around lunchtime, wipes through the state. That's ahead of the front, which clears us out on Friday morning, and then we're looking dry into the weekend. Weather through the middle of July is slightly warmer than average in New Jersey, but a lot of the heat this time is out toward the west, even the Pacific Northwest, where most of that warmest of the weather will be. And even as we head into the middle of the month, a lot of the wet weather that's been around kind of continues to have above average chances of rainfall going into the next few weeks, with most of the drought now ending across New Jersey. Again, this map will update on Thursday morning, but I think we'll see a significant improvement, and a lot of the drought down across Georgia and Florida improving as well with all of that rain, Ken.
All right, Mike. It's funny that Pam and I are looking for traffic. The Hudson River crossings have traffic right now, but I'm looking all a lot of, oh, there's some traffic now, Pam. I see it. Might as well bring it up right on the screen. Might as well while we're talking. This way we could show that we really do have traffic. But there it is. See, there's one line. Now they're gonna move and it's gonna go away. That's a good thing when we have to search for traffic. I think a lot of people are still on vacay. I think they took the kids
Mm-hmm.
and the station
Yeah.
wagon. Fisher was making fun of me. I had Fisher on the radio at WOR last week, and I said, "Yeah, the family got in the station wagon." He said, They don't have station
Okay, no
wagons
station
anymore, Ken.
wagon. No.
Yeah, they
Mm-mm.
don't even have minivans anymore, do they? It's just whatever." But someday they'll have what they'll call ride share. You see, you watch. Mark my words. I forecast that. But I think a lot of people are on vacay yet because all you have is a little
Yep.
Hudson River crossing issue, and that's it. So enjoy your vacay, everybody. All right, Mike, we'll check back a little bit, sir. Much appreciated. It is 64 in northern New Jersey and in Trenton right now. Los Angeles 63 and in San Diego as well. A couple of traffic incidents, minor. We just saw right there exit 144 of the Garden State Parkway. That's just exiting traffic. That's all that is. It's every time you get on the highway, there's no major problem. Thankfully, that's a good problem to have. See that? And they're still moving. It's not like they're stopped. They're still moving. That's a good thing. Over in, let's see, Belmar, which is down toward Philadelphia. We have a crash 295 northbound exit 27 by the interchange with 76 and 676. Left lane is closed. No massive delays there. Just watch out for it. New Jersey Turnpike, we have a disabled tractor trailer by the 95 local lanes south of exit 69, I-80 Ridgefield Park. All lanes open again, just a brake check through there. And a disabled tractor trailer. Turnpike outer roadway southbound south of interchange 7206 Bordentown, all lanes open to traffic. Hudson River crossings again. Lincoln Tunnel, we're told 30 minutes in. Holland Tunnel it's 40 to 45 minutes in. You could see those stopped cars there. And then the GWB upper and lower levels moving, but slowly moving, about 40 to 45 in as well on the upper and lower levels. You can see the upper level on the right, lower on the left. That's actually not bad at all. What you're looking at, that's probably closer to 30 to 35 when you see that movement in that area. That is not bad. Over to LA, a couple of things to tell you about. Report of a fire now South LA at the 710 Willow Street on-ramp. And we have a collision reported Antelope Valley at the 138 and 190th Street West. 752 East Coast, 452 West, and the Supreme Court is giving Texas the green light to require age verification and parental consent to download apps on your phone, and self-driving Waymo cars stranded, as we mentioned earlier, over July 4th weekend on the streets of San Francisco. Brand and digital strategist Fisher, whom you can reach on X and Threads at Fisher or through his website, fisher.media, is here to talk about it. Good morning, Fisher.
Good morning, sir.
So are you saying now I have to call my mom to get permission to download apps? What gives?
Oh, no, you're well out of the range of needing to verify your age. Well out of the range.
You're mean. You're mean.
Texas enacted a law last year to address concerns about online safety for minors. It was challenged by the computer industry and a group of students on First Amendment grounds. The Supreme Court sided with Texas in an emergency appeal, issuing a decision without explanation with no noted dissents. Texas argued that minors downloading apps agree to terms involving location tracking, data privacy, information sales, and liability waivers, justifying the need for age verification and parental consent. Opponents, including computer and communication industry associations representing companies like Apple and Google, warned the law could block young people from accessing a wide range of legitimate content, from books and music to magazines. The ruling is just an emergency docket decision that allows the law to take effect while lower court litigation continues. It does not provide a final resolution on the law's constitutionality. This follows a similar Supreme Court decision last summer, allowing Mississippi to enforce age verification and parental consent requirements for major social media platforms. So this is ongoing in Texas. Again, the Supreme Court just stayed the ruling of the lower court, and it will continue to go through the process. But many states have done this for adult-type websites, social media, sites as well. So it's not uncommon, but it seems like I think California has something like this in place as well. So this will go forward and we'll eventually see an outcome, probably in Texas' favor at some point.
Yeah. I remember, was it 2 years ago? There were in Florida, every time I fly back and forth to Florida and I watch local news, there was a lot of people protesting the same thing, that for, I guess, adult websites, that people needed to now have age verification and whatnot. And, is it too much to ask? I guess it's a pain in the neck if you're going to do that. And if you're one to use those sites, and I get it, but you use it once or set it up once, I guess, or whatever, however many times you got to set it up, but it's to keep kids away from that kind of garbage. So,
sure, but it also goes into, we've had discussions about this in terms of Europe and using verification. So now it ties me potentially, they say it doesn't, my ID or, whatever verification that I use to those sites. Now, let's forget adult sites, right? Let's just talk about social media. So now I have to, if I use Reddit, and Reddit, usually you have an alias, you don't typically use your real name because it's more, again, it's a trashy kind of social media where you talk a lot of crap about things and ask questions that you wouldn't ask in normal conversation. Now I'm tied to that, right? So my identification, so if that got hacked, now anything that I've asked about, if it was something medical reasons or I wanted to talk junk about, somebody or a company or whatever, now I'm tied to that. So I think it goes beyond whether or not I'm accessing sites that might be questionable in some people's eyes. I think it goes to tying your identity to something specific that you might remain anonymous, or you just don't want to have to give your personal identification because now it's in somebody's system. Potentially, you can authenticate the way an Apple Pay or a Google Pay works, where it's a token and it's a verification, but also it's a pain in the butt. You have to do it every single time. There are reasons against having to identify yourself, because who's to say that you log in once on your computer and then your kid doesn't use it to access? So they might require your need to identify yourself every single time. We've all been on planes, or most of us, and Wi-Fi is sketchy, and sometimes even just typical, so imagine trying to use Instagram on a plane and then you have to identify and then it's not working well because it's higher security. It's a thing.
No, and you know what? That makes sense. And every time Big Brother encroaches a little more, today it's for age, tomorrow it could be for something else. So it's by little tiny baby steps that it happens. You're absolutely right. The libertarian in me is screaming, no, I get it.
No, I agree.
Good,
Same.
valid argument. Now, Waymos, and I was one, as you know, 2 months ago, I took my first Waymo in LA, we were in LA. So what happened to the Waymos in San Fran?
Yeah, basically, and I know we're out of time, so I won't get into the nitty gritty, but they ran out of battery. So after fireworks displays, a lot of people got on the road, and the Waymos got on the road, and they might have been, completing trips from earlier and not have gotten back to charge, and then they just died. But they blocked roads, they blocked intersections, they blocked parking garages. So imagine trying to get out of a parking garage, but you can't because the Waymo's blocking the way, and there's no way to move them. So they had to get towed. They do have remote operators that are able to drive them, but if you don't have battery, you don't have the ability to do that. One Waymo actually caught fire because the Waymo just drove over fireworks and got blown up from underneath. So there was a lot of things going on. But yeah, when you have a traffic jam and the Waymos are doing their business during the day and they have battery enough to do that, but then when traffic jams and the car is sitting there and you have the AC on and all that, it drains the batteries. So yeah, batteries died and it caused a lot of traffic jams. So you can see that in that video. I'd be ticked.
You would think there's an easy solution. I immediately thought about it because I thought about it when we were in the Waymo. If the Waymo gets down, it should be a mandatory. You get down to 25%. You have got to stop. And at that point, there should be a message that comes up. This Waymo
sure, but it can't go anywhere. So
power. We're going to pull over and another Waymo gets you.
Sure, but it's not. With 25%, you still have battery left. I have a Tesla, which I love, and I understand the battery situation. But if you're stuck in traffic, you can't go anywhere. So then you're just telling the people to get out of the car, and then the car still can't go anywhere. So there's a lot to that and a lot to the battery. 25% is still a lot of battery, but yeah, there should be a better way.
Well, this is the issue. This is why every time I think I'd like an EV, having lived full time.
You and I are going to have a discussion later.
No, wait a minute. Having lived full time in South Florida, where I have had to evacuate in 5 hours of bumper to bumper traffic.
Sure.
If you had everybody trying to go find a place to charge, it wouldn't happen. It couldn't happen. And that's a problem. That's why I say if 5 or 10% of America has an EV, fine. If then another 10% have hybrids or 20%, great. But if 100% had EVs, we'd have a big problem. I think they're
sure. Hybrids are much better solution. You could charge and have gas in case you need it. So yeah.
All right. So God help us. We agreed on something.
We're still going to talk about the battery problem, though.
I mean, there's got to be a way, a technology to get them to last a little longer. Or eventually maybe Elon will have it so that wasn't he talking at one point about having the strip along the roadway so you could charge your battery as you drive?
Yep, so that'll come to houses soon to be able to charge on the pads. Yeah,
you just drive right up. It's kind of like your phone sitting on a charging pad, right? It'll be a magnetic thing. Kind of cool. Brandon, digital strategist Fisher, he's into all the techie things. You could reach him on X and Threads at Fisher. Send him your outrage. Do it. Or through his website, fisher.media. Thanks for coming on this morning, Fish.
You're welcome. See you next week.
See you then. Always threatening me. All right. For those of you watching on LACA on the West Coast, stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, we will be right back live with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Thanks for watching Mornings. We're back in 2. Very good morning to you. It is 8:03, Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. We go to meteorologist Mike Favetta. And Mike, I'm just looking at the latest power outages. Morris County leading the way. Not proud to be, of course,
Mm,
but we have
yeah.
in Morris County 8,000 outages. We have 2,600 outages in Sussex. And I want to clarify, when we say an outage does not mean a person. People always confuse that. An outage could be a building, and a building could have 100 persons in it. So it could be a business, could be an outage. That could have 1,000 people in it. So just when you hear an outage, that doesn't mean, oh, there are only 4,000 people impacted. It could be 40,000 or 400,000 people when we talk about that. So in total, 23,161 customers, which again could equal hundreds of thousands of people, depending on where those customers are. But the big three or four, Morris County, Sussex County, Union County, Bergen County, still without power. And a lot of it, isn't it, because when they go to fix the lines, you have lines down the street. They got to fix all
Hmm.
those lines before they could generate the power, right?
That's right. A lot of trees down as a result of those heavy winds and the rains that came through. Gusts over 75 miles per hour and inches of rain. On top of that, all in all, remember, it was also a holiday weekend, so finding crews to go out with the triple overtime and take care of that, always a challenge. A lot of people on vacation too. We look ahead to a rather muggy start. Even though it's a little bit cooler in the 60s, the dew point, or the temperature where the air is saturated, also in the 60s. We're holding right around 5 or 7 degrees cooler than yesterday, but it's a saturated and very humid start to the day as we get started on a cloudy morning. Not expecting any rainfall today, even though you see a few little blips of green here on the screen west of the Delaware. Our forecast remains dry today, but it will be humid as temperatures hold just around 70 degrees. So if you're looking to head out, just keep in mind, even though it's cooler, it's just going to feel really sticky. Going into tomorrow, the temperature warms back up thanks to the sunshine. So the sun warming us into the 80s up in the northeastern corner of the state, 70s down the shore, lovely amounts of clear sky. It'll really feel nice even through tomorrow evening. And then for Thursday, we have another brief round of showers and storms that come through. Not expected to be severe, but still could pack a little bit of a punch. The last thing we need is more rain, and yet we get just a little bit of that by Thursday afternoon, and that will set the stage for a warm finish to the week on Friday. Back up in the 90s up in northern New Jersey with that weather remaining warm. Even down south toward Camden could hit 94. Saturday, starting to see some clearing, still unclear where the forecast will go exactly for Saturday and Sunday, but I think we'll be dry, even though we are waiting to see how much sunshine returns. So there's a little bit of a wet finish to the week, waiting for that sunshine to return tomorrow, Ken, but it will feel nice with those highs. There they are in the low 80s. Pleasant weather ahead.
All right, so pleasant weather. We like those words. Thank you very
Hmm.
much, Mike. Once again, those 23,161 customers in the state of New Jersey, predominantly now northwestern New Jersey, four counties. We have Morris County, Sussex County, Union County, Bergen County, northern New Jersey. Those are the ones most impacted right now out of the 4.2 million electric customers in the state. Thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate it. We will check back. It is 65 degrees northern New Jersey and in Trenton. That's pretty much because of the overcast. That's sort of the condition throughout much of the state. 65, much more comfortable than 85 waking up to that. We have a lot of issues on the roadways. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of cameras. Let's start with US 1, Pam, if you have the US 1. There's a crash on Route 1 southbound by Riders Lane in North Brunswick. You can see through the fog there, a little bit of fog. And this is, let's see, left lane of 3 lanes closed due to that crash, southbound Riders Lane, North Brunswick. So now that's, in fact, that's not too far from the college where this is happening. You see the flashing lights right in the middle. So they're going to be working on that for a while. That's a pretty busy interchange. US 1 by Riders Lane, North Brunswick. One left lane of 3 lanes closed. Over to 495, we have a disabled bus in the exclusive bus lane. That's going to cause a problem. There are no cameras available right now. They're doing construction. So all the cameras are out going into the Lincoln Tunnel. But that's a problem. When the bus lane is out, big problem. Now the buses have to take the main lanes, and all the buses stuck behind that bus. Now you have God knows how many people who are going to be delayed getting into New York. So if you know anyone who normally takes one of the express buses, into New York and uses the bus lane, they're going to be late. Unfortunately, that's a big problem. We also have problems on 95. Let's see, what just popped up? Oh, in the Garden State. Okay, let's do 95 first. We have a disabled tractor trailer turnpike by the local lanes at exit 69, I-80 Ridgefield Park. And now we have at the Western Spur, Pam, we do have this mile marker 111.3, Eastern Spur north of interchange 15X. There you go. So there you go. So that's the problem is, however, on the other side causing this. So you have a problem now in New Jersey Turnpike, Western Spur debris spill, and that is causing in Kearney the center lane to be blocked. So you could see they have the cars pulled off on this down to one lane as a result of that. That's going to be a mess. We also have a problem that just popped up on the Garden State Parkway, and that is northbound south of exit 135 Central Avenue Clark with the left lane blocked. And your Hudson River crossings now, again, the Lincoln is a mess because of the bus lane being out. That's going to be about a 45 plus minute delay. Your Holland Tunnel approach right now is very heavy, also 45 minutes. You could see the stopped cars there on the right and the extreme left of your screen. That's a 45-minute approach. 8095 on the GWB going into the upper and lower levels of the GWB into upper Manhattan. Also extremely heavy right now. That's about 40 minutes. Upper on the right, lower on the left. Good luck getting in today. It is a tough one. Last week's intense heat wave is believed to have caused at least 22 deaths in the state of New Jersey as a heat dome that had settled above parts of the central and eastern U.S. finally gave way to severe storms. That knocked out power to 1 million homes and businesses. New Jersey officials said Saturday that they began to see what they believed were heat-related deaths as early as Thursday. They saw the numbers starting to tick up, with most occurring in central and northern New Jersey. At least 3 additional deaths around the country are being blamed on the heat. Heavy rains pounded New Jersey yesterday, causing the collapse of a 50-foot section of the roof of a BJ's Wholesale Club in Ocean Township, temporarily trapping 3 people inside. First responders rushed to the store just after 11. 27 people were inside when the ceiling fell. Amazingly, nobody got hurt. That is amazing. Look at how much of that roof was impacted. Nobody got hurt. Monmouth County officials are now investigating. Breaching whales struck and severely damaged a Carteret Fire Department boat during a patrol. Firefighters abandoned the sinking vessel and they escaped without injury, fortunately. Whale didn't know. Whale was just being a whale. Officials credited life jackets with helping everybody. I love when AI helps to write the story. Officials credit the life jacket. Life jacket, you did a good job. Authorities continue investigating this unusual incident. Usually the whales don't come up that quick there, but it might have been a young whale. New Jersey officially recognized open water lifeguards as first responders through a Senate resolution. They were not considered first responders, but of course they're first responders. The designation grants access to emergency responder benefits and workplace protections. Supporters say lifeguards regularly perform life-saving emergency duties under dangerous conditions, and officials hope the recognition also helps address ongoing lifeguard shortages. Makes a lot of sense. 2 people died after a single vehicle crash on Route 55 in Deptford. Police say the driver lost control before the vehicle overturned and struck a tree. Both the driver and the front seat passenger were pronounced dead at the scene. A rear seat passenger had minor injuries. The investigation continues. And strong storms over the 4th of July weekend left thousands of New Jersey residents dealing with scattered power outages. We were talking about this. We still have, they actually just got over 1,000 people back online, but 23,011 customers remain without power, most of them in Morris County. 8,000 customers without power right now in Morris County. Utility companies across the state continue restoring service while encouraging customers to use online outage maps like I am. The one I'm using, poweroutage.us. It is fantastic. It is up to the second. So if you want to see, if you have your phone, you may not have power in your house, but if you have it on your phone, poweroutage.us if you want to maintain your update on who has power and who doesn't. But if you see any down power lines, folks, stay away. Don't try to drive over them. And of course, don't move near them. When we come back, financial uncertainty is something many people are feeling right now, but building confidence with money can make a big difference no matter where you are in life. We'll talk about it. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're coming back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:15, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Clouds today, maybe a shower, highs low to mid 70s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a full Garden State forecast. And Mike, now
Hmm.
it's amazing. Since we started the show, they've gotten over
Yeah.
4,000 customers back online. They're working very
Hmm.
hard. So
They are.
thank those utility crews when you see them.
Yep. Though those linemen are, especially after a long, hard weekend and now dealing with that extra humidity. So you mentioned the live updates coming in 9:15, and you see these numbers going down, especially when you look at the percentage of the county without power. Close to 4% of Morris County without power, with all those trees up in Sussex County similar. Much better down across the southeastern corner of the state where there weren't the wind issue, it was the rain issue with all of the flooding. So you see that how that translates to customers, and it's still in that 5 to 10,000 range of customers there up in Morris County, whereas far less up to Bergen, Passaic, and Sussex, and much less down the shore. So as we head into this afternoon, the visibility improving. Right now, it's a little bit lower with that low cloud cover, but I think we'll see some improvement throughout the day, especially with the afternoon trying to warm us up and bring some sunshine back, even though we might get a late day brightening of the sky. Temperatures only managed to make it into the 70s today, with that dew point, or the temperature where the air is saturated, very high, feeling quite muggy into this evening. Tomorrow, with the afternoon sun, it'll feel a little bit warmer, and especially by Thursday, get another quick round of rain that comes through by the afternoon. That adds a steamy feel to the day, and then we're back to somewhat more comfortable conditions by Friday. It's just going to take some time, even as we head into tomorrow afternoon. Dew points remain warm, and the heat index up around 90 degrees. So still feeling warm each afternoon through Friday, but I think we get some relief with some slightly cooler weather by Saturday that comes through, with those temperatures feeling much more comfortable. So again, pushing through, the cloud cover taking over for most of the day today, and as a result, the UV low. So on the scale, you go from 0 to 2, and that's where we sit today. A very gray sky yet again, not a whole lot of sunshine. Certainly keeping it an eye to the sky for some more rain, but it's just clouds for this afternoon. And even the future cast showing that, with all those clouds lingering until tomorrow morning, we get a break in the sky, and we're back to some sunshine for tomorrow before some more rain comes through on Thursday. The weekend starting to clear out, but I think the real clearing happens by Monday into Tuesday of next week, with a warm period ahead. Early next week, it'll start to warm up. So temperatures hold in the 80s, which is average for the second weekend in July. It'll feel comfortable, less humidity, nice and dry. A beautiful weekend, Ken, to enjoy.
Love it. Thank you very much, sir. And beautiful weekend after all the incredible heat and storms. We'll
Hmm.
take it. Thank you, Mike. We'll check back in a little bit. 65 degrees up and down the state of New Jersey right now. That is a very good thing. Comfortable clouds right now, but it's a little respite. We needed the rain and we needed the cool down, so that's a good thing. Garden State Parkway right now, we have a crash reported northbound south of exit 135, Central Ave in Clark. This is about a mile before, but if you look at the extreme left of your screen, you could see where it starts. You see the cars there kind of stopped in the extreme left, and that is about a mile stretch of slowdown. So the left lane is blocked. We have a disabled bus right now at 495. That is the exclusive bus lane approaching the Lincoln Tunnel. That lane is out now. All the buses behind it are stuck. That means hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people who normally take express bus service from much of New Jersey into Manhattan through the Lincoln Tunnel, and they take that express bus lane, they're going to be delayed. So make sure you, if you're an employer, be nice, because they're coming in, they're stuck, they have no choice. But that means Lincoln Tunnel, the other lanes are all going to be bumper to bumper. That's going to cost some extra time. We're talking 45 minutes in right now. The Holland Tunnel approach is very heavy, 45 minutes as well. You can see bumper to bumper there on the left side of your screen. And the approach to the GWB actually is lightening up a little bit. Upper and lower levels only going to cost you about 30 to 35 right now. Wow, that's really nice. Actually lightening up a lot. It was a little bit 5 minutes ago. Now it's great. Now that doesn't mean there's no traffic. You just have to go beyond that camera. That is right there. That is 2 miles from the bridge where that is. So right beyond that is where it begins. But usually that's the indicator. If it's at the point where you see the blue stripe, that's usually 30 minutes. Anything beyond that, it increases in time. So we're under 30 minutes now in via the GWB. Very good. Financial uncertainty is something that many people are feeling right now, but building confidence with money can make a huge difference no matter where you are in life. It's one burden not to think about. Dr. Ravi Gabas is an entrepreneur, real estate investor, and author, keynote speaker, and a financial confidence expert. He grew up in poverty in Russia, and then he built a successful business starting over in the US. Imagine going to another country where you don't speak the language, learning the language and learning it well enough to then start a business. That's a lot. Dr. Gabas now helps people develop the mindset and the resilience needed to navigate today's economy. We say good morning to you, Dr. Gabas.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Ken.
It's good to have you here. I mean, you define how anybody who doesn't make an effort to succeed in this country just doesn't try, because you came here. Did you speak any English before you got here?
Yeah, I do. I
Oh, so
did
you
speak
studied.
English before I came here. It wasn't that good, maybe, but I'm a teacher of English according to one of my educations. I have multiple educations, so I studied hard.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, I speak seven languages, but none of them are Russian. They're
Well,
all Latin
I
based.
give up.
So
Yeah,
when you
I
learn,
don't speak
no,
seven.
but when
I
you
speak five, but not seven.
that's amazing. When you speak though a Latin language, you could learn the other Latin languages pretty well. And I don't know if the same holds true if you speak Russian. You might be able to pick out Polish and like that. I don't know if the same is true with Slavic
Mhm.
languages, but I'm
It's
just
not that
impressed.
easy. It's not that easy,
Yeah,
but
no.
you get something. Yeah, you understand something.
Sure, but it's one thing to know a little bit about the language of the country you come to. It's another thing to then start a business and live here and meet people. And you did that successfully. So, talk about financial confidence and why that is just as important as financial knowledge.
Okay. So you introduced me well. I don't have to introduce myself. My name is Ravi Gabis, and yeah, I was born and raised in Russia. And what is financial confidence for me? Uh, First of all, it's visibility. Yeah, it's clarity. It's understanding what's going on, and most importantly, financial confidence doesn't start in your bank account. It starts in your decisions. When you take ownership, when you build resilience, um, when you kind of start taking responsibility for your life, and you don't need to have perfect conditions to start. You just need to make one decision. You need to create clarity, and you need to know or create that next step. What are you going to do? Very simple step. And what is interesting about financial confidence, when people become more financially confident, it doesn't just change their finances. They change how they show up at work, in families, in business, at home, in leadership decisions. They bring it to their work. Actually, why is financial confidence important for me? Because I see that people are so they are under a lot of pressure today, right now. Life is really expensive, especially here in New York. I live in Staten Island and the New Jersey area. I know these areas from my own experience because I do my businesses in these areas. We have construction business in New Jersey. We do educational events in New York, and life is expensive. Housing, food, debts, um, the family responsibilities, and there is a lot of uncertainty for many people.
Right.
And people,
Ravi, I don't mean to step in. I just because we're tight on time.
yeah,
What are some of the biggest financial mistakes that people make when they feel stressed or uncertain? Do they just make the wrong decisions?
maybe the biggest mistake people make, from my point of view, is they refuse to look at the numbers. They're
Yeah.
afraid of that. And when they avoid looking at the numbers. And when you avoid looking at the numbers, fear grows and pressure grows, stress grows, and people start bringing it to their work. And when you look at numbers, control starts coming back. And actually, the first step is very simple. You just need to sit down and write down your expenses, your income, your debts, your minimal family needs, and then control comes back. And you just there's funny thing about control, expenses control. As soon as where focus goes, energy flows. And when you take your expenses under control, automatically the level of expenses goes down, clarity increases, and confidence comes into your life. And then it influences all spheres of your life. Your productivity at work, your relationship, your decision making, so everything.
And you actively invest in real estate in New York and New Jersey, right? So what are the opportunities and the trends that you see in today's market?
That's too much of a word to say that I'm actively investing, because I'm only 1 year here in the United States. But we do real estate business in New Jersey now. We're building houses, let's say. I don't want to go deep in that direction, but I'm a real estate guy for more than a decade now. And what I love about a local market, that United States gives you a huge opportunities to invest in real estate. The main thing, it gives you leverage. If we compare this with the countries where I used to live, Turkey and Russia, the leverage is huge. You don't have these opportunities. I can't say anywhere else. I haven't lived everywhere, but opportunities that the United States provide for Americans are huge, and I would never underestimate that. When people say, I want to live in Turkey, I want to live in Russia, you should understand what you have here. But to understand that, you have to compare. That's maybe what people.
So, Gavi, only because we're now up against a commercial. Give everybody your website so people can get more information about you. What's your website?
Maybe my Instagram page. Does that work?
Okay, that's fine.
Ravi Gabis. How you heard? RAVIGABIS. Ravi Gabis. I publish some useful materials every single day.
Fantastic. Dr. Ravi Gabis. That's RAVIGABIS, entrepreneur, real estate investor, author, keynote speaker, financial confidence expert. Be confident, but can get control of those numbers. Sit down and look at them. Thank you for coming on this morning. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
Thank you, doctor. You bet. It is 8:28. When we come back, the phone lines are open. We'll take your calls. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says clouds, maybe a shower, highs low to mid 70s. We're back in 2 minutes. Very good morning. Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. 65 degrees right now, 8:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Clouds, slight chance of a shower, highs low to mid 70s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ken. And muggy, really, really muggy. You have all of that saturated soil from the 5 to 7 inches of rain that fell. Incredible to think how much rain fell in a short amount of time yesterday, especially over those isolated areas like down toward Monmouth and Ocean County. You saw the videos out of Asbury and, of course, up in Bergen County. A lot of clouds this morning. Not going to see a whole lot of sunshine today. And, of course, no more heat alerts as that has finished after all of the heat that we had last week. Well, what that came through and what's left are now the clouds with, of course, a lot of rainfall over the last few days. But we get to dry out over the next couple of days, especially with the increase in pollen, as that has taken a tumble, the amount of weeds and grasses from all of the rainfall. Those levels have gone down, but we'll see them rise, especially with the sunshine back as soon as tomorrow. We only make it into the 70s today. The average high is 87 degrees. So you think 15 degrees cooler than average. That's a nice break considering we were well above average just a few days ago. And going into the next few hours, you'll likely see the water temperatures cool off as well, thanks to all of that runoff of the cool waters right there toward the ocean. Look at the rainfall the last 2 days, and especially that dot of purple just north of Tom's River, in excess of 6 inches of rain there in a short amount of time. Some areas picked up close to 5 inches on average with those storms. And then the last 7 days, when you include even the rainfall going back through the 4th, most of the state picking up more than an inch of rain, and even heavier amounts there in Monmouth and Ocean County. So quite a bit of wet weather over the last week, and we have more chances of rain, especially on Thursday, maybe again on Friday, but much lower this weekend. So we get a nice break into Saturday and Sunday. And the reason for that is that front that pushes through after this stationary front kind of lingers, gives us the clouds, and through today. We clear things out by tomorrow, late morning, early afternoon, for some brightening of the skies. It'll look quite nice. Another round of rain comes through on Thursday, and then Friday, as the front pushes in, we finally clear out for the weekend. So it'll look nice and dry on Saturday and Sunday with nice clear sky, very pleasant weather, and comfortable conditions as well. Even though high temperatures hold in the mid 80s, that's average, and that'll feel great going into the upcoming weekend, especially after all of that heat breaks. And then I think by Monday of next week, start to see a little climb in temperatures each and every day. Down the shore, Friday could still be warm because it takes a while for that front to sag south, and then when it does, we cool things down by about 11 degrees into the weekend for comfortably sunny conditions both days, Ken, Saturday and Sunday.
All right, Hey, Mike, just to share with you, we have a live feed right now. The president just landed in Ankara, Turkey, or it's no longer, it's no longer Turkey. It's properly pronounced Turkiye, Turkiye. So if you hear me reading it as Turkiye, that's the way they pronounce it, and they want us, and I'm good with that. Our country is not pronounced the United States; it's pronounced the United States. So right, so if they pronounce it Turkiye, we pronounce it Turkiye. Anyway, so NATO is meeting there right now, and you'd say, okay, that's fine. They decided to have a stretch about 200 feet long with a giant blue carpet for each world leader to come off their respective plane and walk with the president of Turkey. Unfortunately, the president of Turkey is about 130. President Trump is 80, and he apparently has some leg issues, as you know. And seeing these two men walk right now, this 200-foot length from the air, whoever thought that was a good idea should be taken in the back and had a little conversation with, if you know what I'm talking about. The two of them are hobbling for this entire, it's like, I want to run up with a wheelchair and say, hey, sit, sit, sit. I don't know. I'm just, if you see the visual, you'll see what I'm talking about. And I wish I could show it. I can't right now because it's a copyright protected visual. But you'll find it online tomorrow. Maybe we could show it tomorrow. It is crazy. Sorry to waste so much time, sir. But it's just an observation. We'll check out the video from Turkey. Mike, thank you. It is now 64 degrees in northern New Jersey, 65 in Trenton. Power outages down to 1,400. That's a very good thing throughout the state. Power outage customers. In terms of traffic, the only thing we really have right now, western spur of the New Jersey Turnpike, we have a debris in the roadway, and this is by 15W. Oh, and now it just opened. It just you could see the vehicles out there, see the vehicles way in the distance. So apparently that just cleared up. That's a good thing. Garden State Parkway, we have a crash northbound south of exit 135 Central Ave in Clark. All lanes are open. Vehicles move to the right shoulder. A lot of people on vacation still this week. Hudson River crossings, even those aren't so bad, except Lincoln Tunnel approach, the bus lane. There was a broken down bus, so that's causing a lot of issues. So it's 40 to 45 at the Lincoln. You're better off taking the GWB, which is fine. The Holland is about 40 minutes, you can see right there. But look at the GWB. It's pretty much wide open. Upper and lower levels, 80, 95. It's only going to cost you 20 minutes. That is the way to go right now. GWB, definitely the bet this morning. It is 8:36. From cold plunges to breath work, wellness trends seem to be everywhere. They always have been, right? But one practice gaining major attention focuses on something that a lot of people may have never heard of or certainly haven't talked about, and that is your fascia, the FASCIA, the fascia. That is the connective tissue that runs from your head to your toes. It's all under your skin, right? It's all throughout the body. But fascia issues are linked to pain, mobility, even stress. Gary Lineham is the founder of Human Garage and creator of Fascial Maneuvers, and we say good morning to Gary.
Hey, good morning, Ken.
So do we say
Good morning.
fascia or the fascia? The fascia is like a system, right? It's the whole skin, that underskin layer that connects our body. But you're saying it's one of the biggest wellness trends right now. So what is that about? What is it about the fascia? Is it that it gets inflamed and causes pain?
I think you can actually define it a little bit different. It's what holds everything together. Our entire body, all of our organs, nerves, tendons, glands, lymph nodes, your brain, everything, all your bones and muscles are held in this container called fascia. And that fascia is intelligent. It actually has a brain of its own called an interstitium. And now with today's science, we know that that brain is bigger than this brain. It's quite amazing. And when you move, it supports your movement, but it intelligently knows where to move. It's that thing that gets you to raise your hand when something's coming at you or duck out of the way. Those are all things that your fascia gets you to do, and your brain interprets the signals from it.
It's amazing. So is it so? And we've never talked about this really. If you think about it, we talked about the
No.
nervous system, the musculoskeletal system. We never really talk about the fascia. But that is
Mhm.
absolutely amazing, and it makes so much sense. So then, when there is injury to the fascia, say if there's a surgical procedure and they have to cut through the fascia, right, to get to whatever's underneath. Does that cause a permanent injurious issue there in the line that's cut, or does it just heal up and everything's fine?
Well, it's not exactly that it's a permanent injury, but imagine if you took this shirt and then you cut
Mhm.
it and then you sewed it
Right.
back up. It would hang kind of funny around. And so if you stretched it and stretched it and stretched it each way, eventually the fascia would come back to its original form. But we're not taught to do that today. We're taught that if you have an injury or if you have a surgery, you just get up and start moving in your life. And then over time, people have one shoulder up, they have their face starting to distort, their head kind of turns, and they don't walk exactly properly anymore. So fascia controls all of that, and it is absolutely changeable in just a matter of minutes if you do the right thing.
So, Gary, this is fascinating to me because I'm someone who was double my body weight. I used to weigh 360 pounds. I weigh 180 pounds.
That's
And when you
fascinating.
do that, fascinating. uh, but I bring it up because I literally feel my joints loose and not in a good way. I have
Yes.
arthritic pain. I have. So, how much did the stretching of the fascia over those years impact where I am right now?
Well, actually, quite a bit. It actually controls where all of those things sit. But here's the good news for you is that with a little bit of mineralization and hydration and moving that through fascial maneuvers, you'll reestablish the connection between your fascia and those muscles. It just takes for you, it take about a month or two of doing 15 to 20 minutes a day, and you will feel better actually within the first 3 days.
Well, you and I have to talk then, because, and I'm not kidding. You and I have to talk then for sure. I mean, I even notice my posture is awful when I walk. I have to force myself to stand in a certain way. Just everything about my physicality is not what it was when I used to be heavy. I'm glad I'm not 360 pounds, but it just physically, it's like the whole body is different at this point, and not always in a good way. So we definitely have to talk. You have worked with
For
everyone from
you,
everyday. Yes.
I was going to say for you, it would actually work better. Like within about 3 days, you would start to feel yourself moving a little bit better with only 15 minutes a day of these movements. Within a week, you would feel like you had better posture. Within 3 weeks, you would actually start feeling younger again. And this is something that's very common. I mean, we have over 80 million people around the world doing this, with millions and millions of practitioners and sports coaches and doctors prescribing this for their people. It works. It works immediately, and you'll feel it the very first time.
I thoroughly believe it. I know the system you have is called fascial maneuvers, correct? And you've worked with everyday people to elite athletes, everybody in between. Are there simple exercises or techniques that a viewer can do at home to just help improve their fascial health?
Absolutely. We have a 15-minute stress reset. And can you imagine erasing all of your stress, literally 75 to 90% of your stress gone in as little as 15 minutes? Because not only stress is something that you don't only experience up here. Stress is physical restriction in your body, and your brain tells you about it. And we have a 15-minute stress reset. It's on our YouTube. It's on our website. It's free of charge. Anybody in the world can do it. And within the first 15 minutes, you'll feel the stress reduction. You'll feel your body move easier. You'll feel clarity in your mind. It happens immediately. That's what's the most amazing thing about it.
I love it. So how is caring for fascia then different from, say, regular muscular stretching or massage or traditional physical therapy?
Well, we found something different. Most people, when they do hear of fascia, they think of Rolfing or a practitioner adding things to you. We found a way to counter rotate the body and move the body, which creates pressurization in the body. And that light pressurization is what tells the fascia to move to support you. Like in your case, where you've lost a lot of weight, and that support tissue, it's like a baggy shirt. It'd be like taking your shirt, putting it back in the washer and the dryer, pulling it back out, and it has its structure and its shape again.
Wow. I will be on your website in about 15 minutes, and I may be calling you. What's a website, by the way? Give your website for everybody to check out, and your YouTube channel.
You can just type Human Garage in any search engine or any social platform. We have millions and millions of people. You can't miss us. Human Garage, humangarage.net, on any search engine. And what you'll find is a 15-minute stress reset. And when you do it, it will radically change your life the very first time you do it. I promise you that.
I believe it, and I will check it out. Like I said, 15 minutes from now, you'll have to hold me back. Gary Lineham, founder of Human Garage and creator of Fascial Maneuvers, helping a lot of people get back in the right shape. Thank you for coming on this morning, and we have to have you back on.
It's a pleasure.
You bet. Thank you. All right. Fascinating. 64 degrees right now at 8:43. When we come back, our friends at AARP New Jersey present a segment on the challenges of choosing a nursing home. We'll be right back. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Ken Rosato at 8:45, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the Garden State forecast. Good morning, sir.
And speaking of all that rain, Ken, that we've had, certain weather stations now recording just in the last few hours the amount of rain that was recorded yesterday, now above 100% above average over the last month or so. And that goes for most of New Jersey, including all this area shaded in green, 123% of average, 124% of average up in Morristown. And look what that did to the drought. That deficit only extends down toward the southern part of the state. So all of northern New Jersey basically reached average, which is quite impressive just in the last few days. And I think we'll see this update by Thursday morning with that drought monitor coming in from the Drought Network with an impressive amount of rainfall that fell over the last few days. Now, our forecast today keeps us cloudy, and that'll keep a cap on temperatures, and the lid will keep those temperatures in the 70s. But going into the next few weeks, likely see a little higher than average rain chance, especially with more chances of rain on Thursday and Friday, and then a little bit warmer than average, but not like the big heat out west, which takes us through the middle of July with all of that heat extended there. So we go into the next few days this week, and while the weekend looks nice and dry and sunny, there are some rain chances specifically for Thursday and Friday, and then we get a chance to dry things out. But a little bit of a warm-up ahead toward the beginning of next week, even down the shore, where we once more reach the 90s. So there's some warm days ahead, but a nice, pleasantly feeling weekend, Ken, with lower humidity, lots of sun, and temperatures in the low 80s. We'll take that.
Yeah, indeed. Mike, I saw there on the or I should say the Northwest more, not Midwest, but like
Yeah.
Idaho, Montana, the Dakotas.
Mhm.
I noticed you had a big red blob there. And
Yes.
last week when we had the heat wave, didn't they have snow there?
They did. They did. So
So
now the
what the
weather's shifting and
hell?
going back the other way.
Talk about
It's just the way the jet
extremes.
stream goes. It's true. It's true. The way the jet stream goes. We had the really hot weather, and then we had the really rainy weather, and they had snow. So it's wild how this all works out. It was hotter here than in Florida, and now it's much, much hotter in Florida because that hot weather is sinking south.
That's why you love your job, I think. That's why
I
you
do.
love your
I
job.
do.
Plus, it gives you an escape from two screaming little babies and a dog. That's a whole other story. But
The
that's
dog is on my feet right now, but yeah, he's just like level 5 clinger.
I love it. I'll take a level 5 clinger any day. Mike, have a wonderful day, sir. We'll check you in the
You too.
morning. Thank you. 8:48 right now. And the following is brought to you by our good friends at AARP New Jersey. Choosing a nursing home for a loved one can be overwhelming, and navigating the paperwork and the financial requirements can make the process even more stressful. Unfortunately, families can also encounter confusing contracts, Medicaid scams, and other costly mistakes. Joining us this morning is Ryan Sicleri, who is the principal at Porzio, Bromberg, and Newman, and a member of the New Jersey National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys, to discuss how families can protect themselves and better understand their rights. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, good to have you on. And I'm one who I have elderly mom and elderly dad. They're in New York State, but both ended up in nursing homes recently, not permanently, but with having temporary care to nurse broken bones, and they had to have round the clock nursing home care. And just dealing with that was a nightmare. I can't even imagine selecting a nursing home for the long haul and how difficult that must be. So tell us about your work with nursing home residents and families in navigating long-term care.
Well, believe it or not, those two things actually play into each other because most people who end up in nursing homes usually have that hospital stay before. So they go to the hospital, then they transition to a nursing home for rehabilitation, and then we realize, hey, it's not something where we can manage their care at home. But those contracts, those admissions agreements that the nursing homes are requiring individuals to sign are being presented to them before they even transition from the hospital to the nursing home. So the practical reality of what's happening is that the nursing home or rehabilitation facility is not even accepting the person from the hospital until that admission agreement is signed. And so we end up in a situation where the family is experiencing a crisis, like a broken bone, an accident, and they're having major health issues they're trying to deal with for their loved one. And now they're presented a contract that's 20, 30, 40 pages or more saying, hey, we know your loved one needs this care, but we're not going to take them until you sign this. And it's an emergency. You need to sign it right now, today, or we're not going to take them. And so that's the practical transition of what's happening in the majority of cases.
And so there are a lot of mistakes that are happening, and there are scams, et cetera, involving Medicaid applications. So why don't you talk about some of those scams and things that people need to look out for?
So the contracts themselves are really geared towards the facilities. Now, not every facility, we have some great contracts that are out there, but the vast majority of the contracts that I review on a day-to-day basis have some really terrible provisions in them. For example, we might see provisions that include a quote, responsible party, which is, my mom goes into a nursing home. I'm the one looking at the agreement. They deem me to be the responsible party. Now, under the law, my responsibility would be to use my mom's money to pay for her care. But what these provisions are including are these responsible party provisions that say, I have to pay from my money instead of just relying on my role as the responsible person for my family. So we see these responsible party provisions quite frequently. We see arbitration provisions, which basically say, hey, if something happens and you need to sue the facility, instead of getting a trial by jury, you have to go through this arbitration. Now, most of the contracts indicate that these are optional, but they don't read that way. And oh no, you have to sign every spot. So what ends up happening is they're signing away rights. They don't even understand really what they're signing away. We also, I've seen some really egregious provisions, Ken, where they say, you agree not to hire an attorney to help you review this contract. So they can be really horrible provisions within these contracts. There's provisions that say you didn't transfer any of your assets before coming here. And if you did, we can sue the recipient of that to get the money back. But they're not taking into consideration that some of these transfers are appropriate and legitimate, such as a transfer to a disabled child, for example.
Wow. So now there's been discussion around legislation to address these contracts. What is the goal of this proposal and how far has it gone?
Yes, so there's some really wonderful legislation that the New Jersey chapter of the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys, we've been working very closely to try and get this legislation passed. We've testified many times in various committees. And basically, the legislation has a whole variety of protective provisions within it. It's at its core, it's a consumer protection bill. It's protecting our most vulnerable citizens when they are in a crisis. So some of the provisions that are in the legislation as it is written presently include that a nursing facility or their staff or affiliated parties cannot become power of attorney for a resident. There are some cases out there where an incapacitated person was presented a power of attorney document and was told to sign it, naming an agent of the facility. So that is now clearly prohibited if this legislation is passed. There's also provisions within there, hopefully, for a standard admissions agreement. If we can standardize these agreements across the board, somebody could have reviewed it, or they could reach out to an attorney and say, hey, what do I need to know about this? And we could respond to them quickly and efficiently instead of saying, well, I need to review the agreement, the entire 40 pages, because I don't know what's buried in there. So it certainly helps prevent some of these things. Additional pieces of that, the legislation is very broad. Another piece that's included is notice to potential residents and their family members that they have the right to hire an attorney. They don't have to rely on the word of the nursing facility. They should be notified that they can hire counsel to assist with a Medicaid application. Believe it or not, there's a lot of legal rules surrounding Medicaid. And the non-attorney Medicaid application assisters that are often referred by the nursing facilities, they're not attorneys. And so they can't provide legal advice. So if my legal advice says, hey, we could actually protect some of these assets for the benefit of the community spouse, the person not going into the nursing home, my clients generally want to know that that's an option for them. They're not getting that advice when they go through a non-attorney Medicaid application assister. The legislation also would require that relationships between the non-attorney Medicaid application assisters and the nursing facilities be disclosed. Wouldn't you want to know if the company you're hiring to assist you has allegiances to the company that you owe money to? It's a no-brainer that these types of things would be out there to protect consumers.
Now, if there's a chance of them making money, keeping money, and not having to deal with their own attorneys, but rather scaring you into it, especially when you're the most vulnerable, when you have to have a loved one, an elderly person being cared for in a nursing home, you want them to get good care. You don't want them to be treated unfairly, et cetera. You get scared and you do whatever you got to do. Well, Ryan, let me ask you, where can viewers go if they have questions or if they think they've been the victim of a scam or an unfair practice? What should they do?
Sure. I think one of the first things they should do is contact an elder law attorney. Certainly, they can go to the National Academy of Elder Law Attorney website, and there is an attorney search function there. They can reach out to me. I'm happy to guide people to the right resources. There's also the New Jersey Long-Term Care Ombudsman's office. If they have a family member who's in a facility and they want to make sure that that person is being protected, the Long-Term Care Ombudsman's office is the right resource for them.
Amen. Ryan Ciclari, who is the principal at Portio, Bromberg, and Newman, and a member of the New Jersey National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. So important. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. And that does it for On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll see you again tomorrow.